Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we are back with another Q&A episode. We love these. They're fun. That you guys give us questions to answer in the comments below. Over the course of time, we pull some of those. We solicit questions through the community tab and posts here on YouTube. And we also ask over on Instagram at stuffandwhiskey. We don't post there much, but...
we don't.
Yeah.
We're bad at that, y'all.
Yeah, we're not big fans of social media.
Yeah.
But
although we are on our Discord more often. So if
are.
you are part of our Patreon community, you get access to our Discord channel, which we are on a lot. Josh is on it a lot.
Every day.
I'm on it when I'm tagged. Josh is on it all the time.
Yeah. And if you want to get that, again, through our Patreon community, the link is in the description below.
Yeah.
You can also get our barrel picks through our Patreon community. Yeah. And the Discord is great. Like, the community is fantastic. We feel very lucky to be able to be a part of that. And yeah, it's just a good group of people.
It is.
We also have, at our stuffandwhiskey.com website, we have some apparel.
We do.
We have glassware coming soon, if it's not already up there. All kinds of stuff. Check that out.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and get into the video. We're answering questions. And you know what? The first time we did this video idea, it's a little bit more uncut, a little bit more loose.
Yeah.
And the first time we had cards. The second time we didn't.
I like the cards because then I can wing them.
Yeah, I think we all missed the cards.
I like the cards.
We're sipping on some rare breed tonight.
Ooh.
Some non-chill filtered in Erin's case.
Non-chill filtered rare breed, which is the best.
Let's go ahead and get into these questions.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me take a sip.
All right, let's take a sip, yeah.
Cheers. Reactive cheers? Not proactive. Okay. So, our Haze 458 and also Mild Turkey 77.
Hey, Mild Turkey. We're drinking Wild Turkey.
Wild Turkey. What?
Mild Turkey is a fantastic
That is a great
screen name.
What are your predictions for the future of bourbon prices? And then what are your thoughts and predictions for the future of bourbon?
What do you think for the future of bourbon and bourbon pricing?
Well, for bourbon prices, I feel like they will probably continue to rise as inflation does, but at some point they will level out. I think bourbon will be like the housing market was, like where it kind of grew and grew and grew and grew until it reached this tipping point, and then it kind of stabilized.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to see with what we're going to see with bourbon.
Okay. And the future of bourbon?
Same thing. Like, I think it's going to always be a thing, but I think with the stuff that happened in 2020, it had a resurgence. So I think it will at some point level out again. I think it's kind of starting to do that as well right now.
Yeah. I just read an article yesterday, the day before, that Bill Cavanaugh sent me that was about Bardstown Bourbon Company's original founders creating a new distillery project in Kentucky where they're building it basically to be the MGP of Kentucky. They're building it to source whiskey to other brands. And it's a massively expensive endeavor.
Yeah.
And as long as Buffalo Trace is pumping billion-dollar expansions into the bourbon industry, as long as people are still putting all of this money into the bourbon industry, I feel like that doesn't happen if it's not going to continue to grow.
I don't think it's going to stop growing. I think the exponential growth that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years will slow down.
That's a good point. So if it's a curve, it went like this for a minute, and now it's kind of...
I think it's going to start to be a slow increase. It's going to continue to grow, but it will be a little more leveled out.
And I think for pricing, to answer the question specifically, I think pricing will do kind of the same thing. Like, it's
that's what I think.
Now that the prices are up, they're not going back down. Like, there's no circumstance whatsoever where any price is going down.
100%.
Even if inflation kind of levels off and things get a little bit more reasonable.
Well, what happened is everything else will just level off and stay where it was, or where it is at that point, not go back to where it was.
Yeah, I think we were kind of due with the insurgence of the popularity of bourbon. We were due for a big jump because bourbon on the whole was kind of underpriced compared to inflation, and it's kind of caught up. Now it's on par. Like, I feel like good bourbon is kind of on par with, close to like good scotch and things like that.
There you go.
It's become a luxury item that people really like to enjoy and collect and all that stuff. And the tourism industry in Kentucky is huge, so pricing is going to kind of, I think we've kind of had a market correction. And now I'm seeing the secondary prices between really hard to find things. I've seen the gap close between retail.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is retailers that are pricing up their products and releasing more limited edition stuff, special releases and stuff. So I think that's all going to continue, but I think we've already seen the biggest jump. And I think we're kind of on the other side of that now.
With slow incremental increases.
Yeah.
Thank you for your questions.
And the card throwing is back, and we're all happy about it. All right.
It's so fun for me.
Next question.
Okay. Oh, you didn't warn me about these screen names.
Well, YouTube and Instagram, they do YouTube especially does the whole.
So at Devin Reet Jens 9079.
Devin, thanks for sending the question.
Thanks, Devin. If distillers raised MSRPs on their limited products, do you think it would somewhat combat the secondary market pricing or just make everything worse? For example, the new Master's Keep MSRP was raised, but the secondary price didn't change.
Yeah.
I don't know much about secondary pricing, so I'm going to let you take this one.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. And my example for this has always been Whistle Pig's Boss Hog series. They just price it right out of the gate at $500. They know it's not $500 whiskey. Everybody knows it's not $500 whiskey, but there's no secondary market for it because there's nowhere else for the price to go. It's already priced so high. In comparison, Buffalo Trace's Antique Collection is still technically a $100 bottle, no matter which one you buy. However, they go for $500 or $600 up to $2,000 on the secondary market because there's margin there.
So to answer the question, if the distillers raise MSRP, you think that would even out? There'd be less price disparity between that and the secondary market.
And I think Boss Hog is kind of the one that shows that it's like proof of concept. You can price something high enough that there's no markup on secondary. Whereas Buffalo Trace is the other end of the equation of we've got a product that everybody wants and we're going to price it low, and you can store owners, you can hook your regulars up if you want to, or price it up and make some extra money or whatever. So I think in the middle, the perfect example is Wild Turkey and Campari and their pricing strategy with a lot of the Wild Turkey special releases getting more expensive. The single Rickhouse, Camp Nelson.
So they still have their regular products that are at a more reasonable price, but their special products are a little more expensive.
Yeah, and I don't think that's stopping anytime soon. I think we're on the early edge of that wave.
Gotcha.
So, great question.
Moving on. Thank you for your question. All right. Tex with Specs asks, would you pay $200 for the new Four-Gate 60, knowing it is 8-year Four Roses distillate?
Yep, and Tech with Specs is on Instagram. That's his handle over there.
Yes. So I have not tried that, so I would not pay $200 for something I have not tried. So my answer would be no.
You're not paying $200 for something you haven't tried. You got to absolutely love it to pay $200 for it.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's, for me as well, that's special bottle territory. Yeah. That's special bottle money.
If I tried it and loved it, maybe. But since I haven't tried it today, I can't answer that with a yes. I can't. I'm a no.
I will be honest with you completely in that if I had my full whiskey budget, all my fun money, I trust Four-Gate to release good products. So it doesn't matter that it's Four Roses. It's double-barreled Four Roses, which doesn't really exist. Yeah. But the fact that it's 8-year Four Roses that's been double-barreled, that would make me want it, and I do want a bottle, and if I had the money, I probably would buy a bottle.
But guess what? He doesn't have the money because he's already pre-spent his money.
I spent all my money on camera equipment for the channel, so won't be buying $200 bottles anytime soon.
No.
We're going to be on a tight budget around here for 2024. Stay tuned for some budget-friendly content.
That's what he says. You guys heard it here. Let's see if that happens.
Stay tuned for some budget-friendly content on the channel.
I'm such a pushover. I let him spend money when we don't even have it. I'm horrible. Okay.
All right, let's go to the next question.
All right.
Before she soaks in the regret.
I know, before I instantly regret all the things that you just spent money on. Pete Davis, 4282, asks, what is the most you've ever paid for one bottle? I'm not trying to get you in trouble, Josh. It's fine. I see everything he spends, so if he would have gotten in trouble, he would have already gotten in trouble.
I think this answer might be the same for both of us because speaking of Four-Gate, we tried Four-Gate Port Perry Perry and we really liked it. So much so that we bought 2 bottles.
That is a bottle I would, because it was like $200.
It's $200.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I did spend $200 on that.
Yeah.
However, it was after I tried it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever spent over $200 on a single bottle before. Now, with that said, I would spend up to $300-ish on the right bottle. Like if I could get my hands on.
It's just new news.
Well, that's kind of like my overall max threshold. Okay. Like for full transparency, the way we have our budget set up, $300 is my amount of fun money every month. And if I could get a bottle that I really enjoyed, like if I got a shot at a King of Kentucky or, you know, a Coy Hill or something for $300, I would jump on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to happen, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Things I have access to, $200 is kind of my threshold. So, yeah, that's
Okay.
where we're at.
Cool.
I might spend $250 on a Garrison Brothers Cowboy Bourbon Hazmat. I might do that. I really want to do that.
Cool story, bro.
Okay.
All right. Smackroll from IG asks, what do y'all do for real jobs?
What do you do for a real job?
I do content marketing and copywriting for a healthcare tech company.
There you go. That sounds super professional. I'm a truck driver for UPS. The big trucks, not the little package cars.
The big ones.
Yeah,
The ones where I have like CB radios and stuff.
Well, I don't have a CB.
But you could.
I could if I wanted. Actually, I do have a CB. I don't use it.
Do you have a handle?
I do have a handle.
What's your handle? Can you share it?
Woozy.
Oh, that's right. You've told me that before.
Yeah. It's not for the reason you think. It's not because I'm woozy off bourbon.
Yeah.
It's because a spider bit me one time. Well, like I got bit by a spider on a route. We already have a Spider-Man that has a handle. So I got bit by a spider. I called dispatch and I was like, I need somebody to come and drive this thing. I'm woozy. And the guy that came and took over for me while I rode in the passenger seat dubbed me woozy forever. So yeah, I'm woozy. But I'm never on the CB. I'm listening to podcasts and books on tape and listening to YouTube live stream rewatches and things like that when I'm driving. So yeah, I'm not on the CB, but that's what I do. I work for UPS. I've been there for over 20 years now in some capacity. Used to be part-time while I did wedding photography. Now it's full-time since becoming a parent and not wanting to work on the weekends. Yeah. So yeah, UPS is a pretty good company to work for overall.
Good benefits. I can't complain.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
All right. Smackroll, another question.
Good questions.
I'm going to say it exactly how it's written here.
Okay.
Sometimes y'all be wearing glasses and sometimes not. Do you wear contacts?
I didn't even plan this. I'm wearing my glasses.
You are wearing your glasses.
Just because I wanted to.
So I have been basically blind since I was 7 years old.
Which I know explains a lot with this.
So
I know explains a lot.
Yes, I wear contacts.
Yeah. And obviously they're still not working very well.
If I don't have my contacts in, I can't see. I would have to have something like this close to my face to see it. So there have been like very few times when I don't have my contacts in and I have to have glasses or else I can't see. Normally, Josh is the only one that sees me in my glasses, or my coworkers on my work from home days. They see me in my glasses.
You've done a couple videos in glasses. I think you should bring them out more.
I like my glasses. I finally got some frames that I like, which are almost identical to Josh's.
Different color.
In shape, but different color. Mine are brown tortoiseshell.
You got those librarian vibes, and the brown brings out the brown in your eyes,
I always like a brown tortoiseshell glasses frame. I've always had that ever since I was in high school.
For me, I don't have to wear glasses. I have pretty good vision, but I do have astigmatism, so they help if I'm on a screen for a long period of time or driving for a long period of time, which is what I do for a job.
You do for your living. Yeah.
So, yeah, I like to wear glasses, honestly.
Also, I think you look really nice in glasses.
Yeah, I just like to wear them like I like them, and I'm wearing mine because I like them. I like them. I couldn't put a contact in my eye. Literally.
You couldn't.
If my life depended on it, I had to put a contact in my eye,
fact.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. It was nice knowing y'all.
I've worn contacts for a while. I had glasses early on, and then I think, honestly, like 5th grade, I started wearing contacts.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, you get made fun of for wearing glasses,
and
I didn't like that.
I'm happy I still have good vision without my glasses, but I enjoy wearing my glasses.
Moving on.
All right. We spent a lot of time on that. Sorry, y'all.
R. Hayes 458 asks.
R. Hayes asks a lot of good questions.
Yeah. What is the deal with all of the cigar batch bourbons now? What even makes something a cigar batch, and what's your take?
So it's a real loose term, and it came from, I think, the Cognac Armagnac world where they had cigar batches. And now what has happened originally, I think Joseph Magnus was the first cigar batch, and they brought it over, and it means it's been finished in like sherry, Armagnac, and or Cognac, some version of those blend of casks.
Okay.
So,
but why is it called cigar?
It's just because it was ported over from the previous batch, like the previous Armagnac and Cognac world.
Okay.
Like it pairs well with a cigar if you're a cigar smoker.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the problem I have with the terminology is that there are a lot of people, and there's this whole thing around Amburana finished things being called cigar batches.
What is Amburana?
It's like a Brazilian wood. I don't even think it's oak. Oh. But it imparts like a really strong cinnamon note. Mm-hmm. And I really don't like when things that are finished in Amburana are called cigar batches. And Starlight does it. I love Starlight. I don't like that they call their cigar batch a cigar batch because it's finished in Amburana.
Why?
Because it's different. Like when I see cigar batch, it better be Armagnac, Cognac, sherry. It better be in that realm of flavors.
In like the Holy Trinity
yeah,
of flavors.
like the dark fruit flavors that those type of cask finishing imparts.
So what does the Amburana impart?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Gotcha.
And then nothing but that. Gotcha. And some people, like, shout out to Lance at Whiskey Tornado. He says to him, Amburana finished stuff tastes like cat pee. I can't entirely disagree with him. Like, there's a strong...
I love that.
It's a very strong note that I don't like. I don't like Amburana finished stuff.
Okay.
So
cool. Josh has very strong opinions about this. What's your take? Well, we got your take.
I think we covered that, yeah.
And what makes it a cigar batch? You said it because it's finished in like a specific... one of the specific casks, and now Amburana is one of the, it's added, so there's 4 different types of casks that can be finished in?
No, I mean, technically you can call anything. You could call whatever you want a cigar batch, if you want to, if you think it, whatever.
So there aren't any regulations around it?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is, forget the Amburana. If you like Amburana, more power to you. I just don't.
We opened a can of worms here, y'all.
If you ever see us do an Amburana pick, which, by the way, if you want to join our Patreon, it's down in the video description below. That's where you can get our barrel picks.
You can go on picks with us if you're on our Patreon.
At a certain level, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in tier 1, you will be contacted about going on a pick with us. The Amburana finish, if we ever pick an Amburana finish, you better believe it's going to be absolutely fantastic, because I am not signing up to go on one of those and picking one unless it's the best thing I've ever tasted. That's Amburana finish.
I don't think I would want to even sign up to go on one.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't. But anyways, if you love Amburana, you're probably not joining Patreon now.
Let's move on.
All right, let's move on.
Goodbye. All right. Tice Duo 7174 asks, which distillery tours are your favorites?
You first?
Well, one of the first distillery tours I went on was at Old Forester. And it was my favorite.
Downtown Louisville on Whiskey Row.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was my favorite because of the location. The building that it's in is like, if I were to be turned into a building, I would be that building. It's like...
It's downtown.
It's downtown.
It's a lot of black and white.
It's got a lot of black and white, very industrial vibes, exposed brick.
Yeah.
You know, browns, blacks, whites, the brick. I'm here for it.
Yeah. That tour is really cool because they have a cooperage. It's one of the few distilleries that actually has a cooperage.
And you get to like fire it. You get to see it fired.
Yeah, you get to see a barrel charred, which is amazing.
That's
so
cool.
I co-sign that. And whatever dessert thing, I forget what they call it, but there's like this desserty type of thing that goes along with the tasting experience. It is phenomenal if you were a sweet tooth. And I am, and I want all of those.
Yeah, I agree. Very
so
good.
Old Forester's one. Not number one. It's just one of our favorites.
Yeah.
What about... Keep going.
Well, I would also say probably Middle West Spirits
100%.
In Columbus, Ohio. That was a recent one. I had zero expectations for what it would be because I was like, I'm going to Columbus, Ohio.
How good can it be?
How good can it really be?
Yeah. Sorry, Columbus.
Well, I used to live in Columbus, Ohio. Go Bucks. OH.
Roll Tide.
However, that being said, Middle West is doing some good stuff. Also, their distillery is amazing.
Very cool.
Their restaurant that is attached to their distillery is amazing.
Very good.
Again, the vibes. Exposed brick. Black, like the window trim is like black and white and all the cool things, and I love it. That's my answer.
If you couldn't guess, Erin is not exactly the traditional Bourbon Trail visitor.
No, I'm not.
All right, are those your two?
Those are my two.
Okay. Hard Truth. I co-sign both of those. Hard Truth.
Oh, Hard Truth.
Hard Truth is amazing.
That's beautiful.
It is amazing. Their grounds are amazing. They have an amphitheater with live music on the weekends. You can take ATV tours. You, even as a general public, can go there and do a single barrel pick experience.
Yeah.
So you can go in the little room they have and taste 3 different barrels.
And
Hard Truth is lights out,
their
one of the best.
Their grounds are beautiful, especially we went in the fall.
Yeah.
The beginning of October. The leaves were turning. It was lovely.
It's
they're in
good.
Nashville, Indiana, and we live in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
I'll put a link to the video from our pick because it'll give you a good idea of the grounds and stuff. Which, by the way, we do have our Hard Truth pick coming out at some point soon. I think January, February. So
I'm excited for that.
You can get those through Patreon. So again, join our Patreon if you want to get our barrel
We didn't intend to like pitch Patreon, but that's what's happening.
We do barrel picks at places we love.
Yeah.
And we love Hard Truth. We love Middle West. We did a barrel pick with Middle West. It's probably out or coming out soon. You can get that through Patreon. We actually picked 2 barrels when we went to Middle West because individually they were both great, but then you mix them together and somehow they're even better. And they offered to blend them for us into one, but the two parts are so good. So like, anyways, those pics are coming up on Patreon. What else? I think Jack Daniels has to be in the mix. I think Jack Daniels has one of the absolute best tours. The history, like you go to Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail and you hear a lot of like Kentucky bourbon stuff. You know, it's like
the limestone and the makes the
limestone
water
and the 51%
awesome.
corn. And that stuff is great, but once you've done it enough times, you've done it enough times. And they're all kind of saying the same thing. Jack Daniels is a little bit more relational, like you're hearing about the history from a relational standpoint with Jack Daniels and Nearest Green and all kinds of stuff. And it's beautiful down there. Maybe we're biased because we live in Nashville or whatever, but it's a beautiful distillery. And then I would round out my top 5 probably with Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Bardstown was cool. That was the very first distillery tour I ever went on, was a Bardstown tour.
I can't think of another distillery where you can go into the rick house and thieve from the barrels. And their barrel thieving tour, you can do that as just like a regular. You don't have to have a channel or anything. Oh
yeah, that's true.
You can do that
as a regular tour. Yeah,
and that's pretty special.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I would put those as the 5.
Okay, so what do we have? Let's recap and move on.
Bardstown Bourbon Company, Jack Daniels.
Well, these are in no particular order.
Hard Truth,
Middle West,
and Old Forester on Whiskey Row. I think that's a strong top 5.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, cool.
Good question. Thank you.
Great question. Thanks for letting us relive some memories. That was great.
Yes. Okay, our last question.
Yep.
Caleb Clement from IG asks, for someone who has never had Nashville Barrel Company whiskey, what's a bottle that highlights what they do best?
So we live in Nashville, Tennessee, about 4 miles door to door to Nashville Barrel Company. And this is a good question because that's our backyard.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that Nashville Barrel Company does best is their single barrels. They do a really good job with their single barrel program.
They do.
They only pick very, very good barrels. So to me, what they do best is young bourbon and old rye. So because they don't have like a mass market blended product, which actually they do have a few. They have like a cask strength bourbon rye and an 86 proof, lower proof bourbon, but those aren't what they do the best. I think they do single barrels best from barrel selection. Their older bourbons, to me, get a little soft and flat. The younger ryes can be a little bit rowdy, but their older ryes and their younger bourbons are very good.
So you're talking younger bourbons like 5, 6?
5 to 7 years. 5, 6, 7 years.
I've had an 8-year rye or bourbon from them that was good.
Yeah. I mean, some can be, but on the whole, and the problem with the old ryes is that they get very expensive because old rye costs a lot of money. I think the younger bourbons are the best value buy, whether it's MGP or their Nash-Tucky line that they source from Kentucky distilleries. I do know that the 8-9 year Nash-Tucky stuff is Jim Beam, but their 5, 6, 7 year Nash-Tucky and Nashville Barrel Company products are among the best sourced products on the market, I think, period.
So to answer the question, you would probably say they're 5, 6, 7 year bourbon.
Yeah. And I would say
for
that
more bang for your buck as far as price and value and flavor.
And we're local. If you go to Nashville Barrel Company, do the experience where you can do the bottle your own and absolutely do that. It's a fantastic experience. However, if you're not local, you're not going to be around and you don't have it in your market, you can go on their website. And we will put a link in the video description below. You can go on there and see what they have available for shipping, and they can ship to most states. Check them out.
Yeah.
They have, they just do really good work there. I mean, that's just a testament to the palates that are behind what they do. They're very particular.
They're selective, yeah.
Yeah, very selective about what they bring in-house. So they take what they bring in-house very seriously. I think that's why the product at the end of the day is so good. It's why they're one of my favorite absolute places out there. Yeah. If you're in Nashville, Tennessee, go check them out.
And that's it for today, folks. Be good to each other. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers.